and welcome to another House of Wisdom Lightest and Best Knife Review. And today we have a special treat. This is the lightest and best of a man who's becoming quickly one of my favorite designers, Liong Mah. This is the Warrior 1, the second version of the Warrior 1. We're also going to look at the first version and the Warrior 2 and compare them with his second iteration. Liong Mah is a designer who produces his knives through Riot Knives, and I've been very impressed with Riot Knives' fit and finish. I have another of their knives. I have the Wave, which has impeccable fit and finish and great action. I just love their work. And so they make their own knives as well as doing OEM work for people like Liong Mah. Todd Beggs also produced some of his Steelcraft series through Riot Knives, and they just do a really good job of what they do. This particular knife is a titanium frame lock flipper. I have the carbon fiber version, and then I had a custom anodization job done by Cutlery that I'll talk about a little later. Well, let's start off by comparing it to the first version of the Warrior 1 and talk about the changes and or improvements that he made. The first thing I would like to point out is that the second version has a back spacer, whereas the first version had two standoffs. And the second version has an orange peel finish to the hardware and pivot, but not to the clip and back spacer. The first version just had a satin finish on the hardware and pivot. He also added a lanyard hole, which didn't exist in the first version. This lanyard hole is completely contained within the back spacer, so it's protected from the blade. And he added more jimping. The Warrior 1 first version, the jimping extended maybe half the distance of the current jimping. He extended it out further, so you've got some good purchase and good grip there. And the pocket clip is a little different. The first version had a very simple, rounded, straight pocket clip. This pocket clip is more stylized. It has 3D machining, and I believe they made the pocket clip to mirror the shape of the blade. And so it's a nice stylistic change that they made. I'll add that. He's got good deep carry, and I do like the pocket clip a little bit better here. So those are the comparisons. There are at least 5 differences that I've noted. The addition of a back spacer is to standoff, the orange peel finishes, they added a lanyard hole, they extended the jimping on the spine of the blade, and then they have a better 3D milled pocket clip that matches the shape of the blade. He also made a Warrior 2, which is a larger knife. It has a 3 3/4 inch blade as opposed to this 3.375 inch blade. It's a larger knife. We'll talk about the specifications of the blade. As I just mentioned, the blade length is 3.375 inches. The handle length, and this is the carbon fiber version, is 4.25 inches. Giving a total knife length of 7.75 inches. The weight of the knife is 3.5 ounces. And earlier I did a review on the Liong Mah Lanny flipper. The Lanny flipper is a shorter knife by about 1/4 inch, and its blade, it has a 3.25 inch blade as opposed to 3.375 inches. This is 0.4 ounces heavier. It's 3.9 ounces as opposed to 3.5 ounces. So this still wins the prize for the lightest and best. I just wanted to show you this one also. I'm quickly, as I mentioned, becoming a huge Liong Mah design fan. I have some other knives for comparison of the size. We'll start out with a zero tolerance 0450, which is a little shorter than this. And we'll look at the zero tolerance 0562, which is a little larger. The Spyderco Delica, which is a bit smaller. The Benchmade 0940, which I'm going to say is approximately the same size. the Hinderer XM18 in 3-inch, which is a bit smaller, and then a knife I brought out before, which I recently did a review on, the Liong Mah Warrior, which is a 1/4 inch shorter also. Getting into the blade of the knife, the blade is a stone-washed S35 VN blade. It has an upward swept configuration and a flat ground on the primary bevel. The jimping is asymmetric. As you can tell, it has a gradual upslope and then a sharp downslope. That allows you to slide your thumb back, but when you press against it, it gives you good traction. This is a characteristic Liong Mah design feature. As you can tell on the Lanny, he has similar traction where it's sloped going up, but then gives you traction and bites into your finger whenever you press forward on it. I like it. I'm going to stop for a little bit of a commercial here for JD Cutlery. I purchased this knife for JD Cutlery, and JD will custom anodize your knives for free. He has some that he already has anodized, but you can look at all of the anodization patterns that he has. This particular one is called Green with a Bronze Stonewash. Also, I asked if he could bronze anodize the clip, the pivot, and all the hardware bronze, which he did, which matches nicely with this. I really like the finish because you can put your fingerprints all over it and it does not change the color of the knife or the shade of the knife at all. And that's neat because whenever you get some of the blues and the purples of some of the knife manufacturers' anodizations, you have to wipe them down with Windex or Tungdex or whatever you use to restore their original color. Otherwise, they look splotchy. But this has kind of a user finish, I'm going to say. And he did it exactly as I asked. Not only does he do custom anodization of a model you want, but he offers it cheaper than his competitors. Knife Center and Blade HQ offer this same version of the Warrior 1 version 2. Theirs costs $30 more than JD Cutlery, and JD throws in a custom anode job for you. So I am a big fan of JD Cutlery. I have several other of their models. I'll bring out some zero tolerances I have here. This is the 0900, which has a green anodization with a brown drizzle, and then the zero tolerance 0562, which has a purple anodization with a green drizzle. And he does all these because I think he just enjoys it. Plus, it helps him sell the knives and sort of a hobby for him. So anyway, Jeff at JD Cutlery, give him a call. He's really good about working with you and doing custom anode jobs. He does it for free, and he sells his knives cheaper than his competitors. He doesn't sell all the models of the knives, but he does sell Riot, Zero Tolerance, Liong Mah knives, HTM knives, Wee knives, Lion Steel, Browse blades, Brian Ty and Friends. So he has about 8 different manufacturers that he sells. And so if you're wanting to use those, Zero Tolerance he also sells, as I've mentioned. So if you want to get a knife, get it through JD Cutlery. And that's a free advertisement. He doesn't give me any kickback. I just wanted to alert you guys that you can get a cheaper knife and a custom anode job with JD Cutlery. The method of deployment of the knife is by flipper. It flips out hard and flips out firm. The return you have to shake down. It's not a free fall knife at all, but it does flip out very nicely. One thing that I wanted to point out about Liong Mah's flipper design is it comes off at about 45 degrees, but it's the same angle that the end of the knife is, and so it makes this nice transition. And his transitions are smooth. As you can tell, he has some chamfering on the blade, and the same chamfering extends onto the knife handle. I don't know if you can get it with the light, but there's a continuous line through the knife handle that extends through the blade, and I just like that artistic continuity that he does. I also want to point out that on his other knives, he does the same 45-degree flipper angle. And really, that's what you want, because if you're going to press it, as opposed to light switch or button push, if you really want to press it, you need to press it about a 45-degree angle. So that gives you a really good way to do it because of his flipper configuration. I'm a fan. The handle is titanium and carbon fiber, and there is some interior milling. I see if I can shine some light on that. There you can tell it there on the back side. There's a little interior milling. The carbon fiber, there's no attempt to mill that, but he did try to lighten it, which is why this knife is probably, even though it's not the shortest, it is the lightest that he offers right now. The pivot is run-on bearings, and as I've pointed out, he has this nice orange peel finish on the pivot as well as on the hardware. Looks really good. He uses Torx bits to disassemble the knife and Torx bits on both sides. The knife is a frame lock. As you can tell, it locks up at about 30%. There's no blade play, side to side or front forward, and it locks up very nicely. There is a lock bar insert as well as an over travel stop, so your lock bar interface is secure. The pocket clip I've referenced to earlier is a 3D milled pocket clip that's in the same configuration as the shape of the blade, so there's that artistic continuity. It has lots of clearance and is secured with one screw and is very firm, doesn't wiggle around at all. The ergonomics of the knife are acceptable. It's a straight handle, and so it feels like a straight handle. The pocket clip hits me right here in the crease of my hand, so there's no hot spots whatsoever. It feels good in the hand. And the construction is a semi-flow-through design. It does have a back spacer, but the back spacer is short, so the majority of the knife is open, and you can just blow it out with compressed air in order to clean it. The stop pins construction is something I've seen on other models. The stop pin, I'll bring out the Lanny's. It has a traditional stop pin which is attached to the handle, and then there's a groove in the blade tang here that stops both in the open and the closed position. The Warrior 1 version 2 is different. The stop pin is connected to the blade and then has stops with an interiorly milled channel which is exposed to the outside on the handle, and other manufacturers have done that. I'm going to show you a couple. Here is a Medford 187, and as you can tell, the stop pin is connected to the blade, and then there's a channel made so that it stops when it's open, and then it stops against the handle when it's closed. A little bit different, but the similar idea. Here is the Brow Spectre. Again, the stop pin is attached to the blade, and it has a channel in the knife that it stops it both in the open and the closed position. Also, Hinder knives did this with their half track, and that's the name of the half track. There's half a track in there that the stop pin on the blade can go and lock up on, and then in the closed position it locks also. So this is a really good way to stop the blade open and stop the blade closed that they use. The action is good, it flips strong, and as I've mentioned, the return is not a free fall, but you can shake it closed very easily. The signage on the blade is minimal, which I like. On the show side, there is Liong Mah Designs Maker's Mark, and then on the clip side, there is the blade steel type, which in this instance is S35VN. The handle, both the clip side and the show side, are sterile and have no markings on them whatsoever. Well done, Liong. So, what are my impressions of the Liong Mah Warrior 1 version 2? I really like it. Are there opportunities for improvement? I would say so, but there are very few. And here is one of the things that may just be a nitpick with me. The pivot and the hardware are orange peeled, but he left the clip and the back spacer just satin without orange peel finishing. So in my preference, all the things would be orange peeled and have the same finish. Excuse me. And he actually did this with the Lanny's. The bolster, the back spacer, and the clip all have the same orange peel finish, and so it unifies the theme, and I wish you would have done that on that. It's not a big deal, it's just one of my personal preferences. But what do I like about the knife? I love the action. It forward flips great. He has his flipper configuration with jimping and at the right angle. It makes it a joy to flip. And the size is acceptable. I usually only carry knives that are 3.5 inches or smaller than 3.5 inches. I consider it to be more EDC friendly. And both the Warrior 1 and the Lanny fit that category. The other thing I really like about the knife, which has nothing to do with the knife itself, is I really like the anodization job I got with this green anodization with the bronze stonewash, and then the bronze anodization of the clip pivot and hardware, as well as the backspacer. I really like it, so everybody use JD Cutlery to order your Liong Mah Warrior 1s, and that's a free ad I give for JD Cutlery. Well, the other thing I like is that Riot knives fit and finish is awesome. They all have lock bar inserts and over travel stops. None have lock stick. They're all perfectly centered, and they just do an immaculate job of executing and interpreting a design. I like this knife so much that even though it's a stretch for me carrying a knife over 3¼ inches, I like it so much it keeps making its way into my pocket. And you save yourself some money and you get a free custom anodization job by ordering it through JD Cutlery. So I recommend everybody give JD a call and order one of these guys. I really like it. I think you will too. Well, that's the knife review. And like and subscribe if you haven't. Leave a comment in the comment section on what you think about the Warrior 1 version 2. And we'll see you on the next House of Wisdom, Lightest and Best video.